what we were thinking was happening. But now I wanted to go back. Robert, you mentioned just earlier that you thought there was a contradiction around the not wanting meetings and what they did want.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I think the contradiction is that how do you build online communities? Because a lot of this is supported by a conversation that takes place amongst people who have a common interest and a common goal. And you support that community via a number of ways. I mean, if you look at the nemesis of university life, it's if you can avoid a meeting, you do. I mean, you don't want on your gravestone, "I never missed a meeting." So, or "I never wrote a report." Sorry, I always got my reports in on time. So those sorts of things are downplayed because of the administrative weight of just, the burden of keeping those things, those reporting structures in place. So how do you build community but still use the tools that you use professionally to keep an organisation moving? That's the contradiction I was really referring to.
Yeah, and you're right. And we were trying desperately to have like state-based teams and online teams and discipline teams to do exactly what you say. But it's very interesting across such a distributed and diverse group, but very challenging and a lot of fun. We worked very hard. So when we join up the deans and the deputy PVCs, that's just how it fell down when we joined both groups. So curriculum innovation right up the top, viability, quality teaching, and then research and pathway. So that was very interesting. So what we did is we then shaped the project that the network was going to undertake around those aims. So we had one on engagement, industry and community, and it actually looked at the pathways between TAFE and higher ed and how we can integrate professional practice and engagement for creative learning. We had curriculum innovation, which was all around new curriculum and studio practice. And then there was one on viability, which was around trying to work out costings and if there are other ways of maybe looking at teaching in the creative arts.
And here are the state-based and disciplinary-based teams in Melbourne trying to work through the projects and how they were going to achieve them.
So we have to add that the projects really worked so well. But again, it was about 12 people, would we say, even that? Yeah, I can't remember. But honestly, there was so much engagement, there was so much goodwill, there was buy-in, people were passionate, they were working outside of hours and overtime on things that they really enjoyed. So,
and this is really where the relationships were forged, and it was in a face-to-face setting rather than through the online network.
Yeah, we paid for it. Once we consolidated the research areas, we brought people down to Melbourne for those that put their hands up who wanted to join a project, and came along to Melbourne, had a day where we brainstormed and got the little groups together, and it really was a good outcome doing that. And then we are actually now busy writing up a text journal. We've been doing a special edition on leadership in the creative arts, and Text are going to publish that for us. So we're having our 11th of June deadline, and it looks like we're on track. So again, the projects that are coming up there are really the ones that people engaged with in the project. Those are the names that are in the text journal. So it again just really reinforces for us this working deeply with others to create relationships.
Mm-hmm. So they were the opportunities that the project presented.
Yep.
And now there were some challenges that we had too.
Yep.
So initially 57 associate deans and deputy deans learning and teaching were invited to join the online network. However, even in the steering leadership team, this was broadened a bit to include other leaders in learning and teaching, such as program and discipline leaders. And state and discipline leaders also invited additional people for their groups. And it ended up, we had 218 members from a PhD student through to a PVC, which is great, and think, wow, there's so many people engaging this. But it actually, with a diverse membership, it was very difficult then to target what the purpose of the site was and what people would value, and to have those open conversations.
So in terms of
the membership,
yep. You want to go through those?
Yeah, so in terms of membership, there are mainly academics in the creative arts, or other there referring to academic developers, ALTC, grants, recipients, that sort of thing. But you can see that aqua and the purple and the green, that was really our target group for this site, which was the associate deans and the deputy deans in schools, which only made up about 15% of the overall membership.
So now the next question is going to be very easy for you. Thanks, Thembi. So what percentage, everybody? Alright, so we're going straight to the answer. And it was initially 16 of the 57 immediately joined the network, and that's gone up to 28, and so we have half. But again, as Thembi said, if you look at the total membership of the 218, it is only a tiny percentage of the whole membership.
Yeah. So we asked a number of associate deans, you know, what would entice them to join or why didn't they join, and a number of them said they prefer to have face-to-face meetings. So we've held 2 face-to-face meetings for the Creative Network and really tried to restrict it to just those in the formal learning and teaching leadership roles, such as Associate Dean, Learning and Teaching, or Academic or Education, and the Deputy Dean, Learning and Teaching.
So we've held, as Thembi said, 2, and we've had 11 associate deans, or they came to the first one, and 16 have come to the second one. And they've really been, people who've come have loved them. The feedback has been really positive, and you know, we've tried really hard to make the day relevant and interesting, and engage, you know, again, using this whole participatory constructivist social learning kind of theory that underpins the work and the framework for the network. It's just that we those that come love it. It's how can we get more there?
Yeah, and the interesting thing too is that when we invited these people in formal learning and teaching roles, they ended up sending on the invitation to discipline champions or heads of school in the creative arts. And I thought that was very interesting that that was happening, that they were sending on those. It was almost as if they didn't feel that they were able to represent the creative arts in learning and teaching leadership of that area.